Authorities in Florida say a pilot reeked of alcohol after his plane struck a communications tower on the ground at Melbourne International Airport in Florida. 57-year-old Christopher Hall and his preteen son were in the Cessna twin-engine aircraft when Hall taxied into a restricted area and crashed into a communication structure. Hall and his son suffered only minor injuries. Kris Van Cleave is in Washington with the latest. Kris, what do we know about this guy and the investigation?
Well, Vlad, we know that he didn't just taxi into a restricted area. He ignored air traffic controllers who were ordering him to go back to his hangar. After he radioed air traffic control, they noticed his speech was slurred, so they told him to return to his hangar and get off the taxiway. Instead, he continued to taxi, left the paved area, went across the grassy area you can see there in the video, eventually striking this outbuilding where the plane came to a stop. Now, you can see he was arrested and
I mean, he looks, see, just that video there, he looks pretty buzzed.
Well, you know, he declined a field sobriety test, but inside the airplane, police from the Melbourne airport found one bottle of cognac, they note almost half empty, an unopened bottle of wine, and additionally, a plastic water bottle was found behind the pilot's seat with clear contents inside of the bottle and an odor of an alcoholic beverage.
And we should again point out that his preteen son was aboard that aircraft. He was taking his son. He was flying from Florida to Ohio, a pretty long distance. And I mean, have you been able to figure out if this guy has any history of doing this in the past? Or does he have any kind of criminal record or any record of driving under the influence, even if it's just his automobile?
Well, typically, if there had been a history of a pilot being arrested, particularly and being found guilty of being intoxicated while trying to fly, the FAA would pull his license. So if he's done it before, he certainly hasn't been caught. And, you know, it's fairly rare for a pilot to get arrested after an accident. Certainly, it is not something you hear about often. One other interesting thing in the charging documents here, it appears that one of an unnamed witness, who very well may be the son, notified police that they could find alcohol in a computer bag inside the airplane. He didn't have a whole lot to say as he was leaving leaving court last night, or as he was leaving the jail last night. We know he had his first appearance today. He's facing two charges. One, no surprise there, would be child neglect. The other is essentially reckless operation of an aircraft when under suspicion of intoxication. So those are fairly serious charges. He certainly could lose his FAA license and you know, face some prison time as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good thing that this guy was apprehended before he was even able to take off. I just keep thinking about having his son in that airplane, and if he was not following instructions from air traffic control and he crashed into that communication structure there, this is sort of, sounds to me, a disaster averted, Kris.
Yeah, it really could have ended badly. I mean, if you think about, you know, certainly ignoring the air traffic controllers is not a good call because, you know, there could have been other air traffic coming into that runway. But, you know, he was not able to keep the airplane seemingly on the taxiway and definitely drove over a decent a stretch of grass before he struck that building that was not, you know, in the direction of the runway. So it certainly does appear that he was not in any shape to fly. In fact, reading through the charging documents, the first person that got to the crash site was a certified flight instructor who told police that he had noticed that the pilot here, Mr. Hall, was sweating, seemed disoriented, had slurred speech. So, you know, clearly this is somebody who, by all accounts, should not have been trying to operate an airplane.
All right, Kris Van Cleave in Washington. Kris, thanks so much.